It's happening again. The battle lines are drawn. The European Union, once America's closest economic partner, is now preparing to strike back. Retaliation isn't just an option, it's inevitable. And if Donald Trump follows through on his threats, this could be the beginning of an all-out trade war, one that neither side can afford to lose. But how did we get here? How did allies turn into adversaries? And what happens when two of the world's largest economic forces go head-to-head, not on a battlefield, but in the brutal and unforgiving world of international trade? This is more than just a dispute over tariffs. This is a test of economic power, a struggle for dominance in a world where trade wars are now fought like real wars, strategically, aggressively, and without mercy. What we're witnessing is the potential collapse of a decades-old partnership between Europe and the United States. And if it crumbles, the fallout will be global. But where are the two allies headed? Let's find out. At the heart of this crisis is one man, Donald Trump. The 47th President of the United States has resurrected his old playbook. Tariffs, trade wars, economic nationalism, it's all back on the table. And this time, he's not just targeting China, he's looking at Europe. And what about the European Union? They're ready to retaliate. The stakes are massive. If these tariffs are implemented, nearly $29.3 billion worth of European exports could be affected, 4 times larger than the last time Trump waged an economic war on Europe. The repercussions will shake industries, disrupt supply chains, and set the stage for a geopolitical shift that could redefine global alliances. But this isn't just about money. It's about power. It's about control. And most importantly, it's about leverage. So what happens next? Does Europe back down, or does it escalate the fight? And if it does, will America double down, pushing the world closer to economic chaos? The answer lies in what happens over the next few weeks. And right now, the signs aren't looking good. To understand how we got here, we have to look back. This isn't the first time the United States and Europe have clashed over trade. Their history is filled with disputes, some minor, some explosive. But nothing compares to what happened in 2018. That year, Trump, during his first presidency, launched an economic assault on the world. He imposed a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum imports. His justification? Protecting American jobs and industries. But the real reason? A political stunt disguised as economic policy, designed to rally his base and push an America-first agenda. Europe responded with calculated precision. The EU imposed tariffs on Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Kentucky bourbon, and Levi's jeans. Not random choices. These were products from Republican strongholds. The message was clear. You attack us, we will make sure your voters feel the pain. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing history repeat itself. Trump is back, and so is his tariff war. But this time, the EU is not just preparing to retaliate, it's preparing to escalate. The difference? This time, the economic fallout could be much worse. Why? Because Trump isn't just attacking trade partners, he's attacking alliances. His policies are forcing Europe to reconsider its relationship with the US. And for the first time in decades, there's a real possibility that Europe might look for alternatives. So, the question is no longer just about trade. It's about the future of the transatlantic relationship, and whether Trump's actions will be the final nail in the coffin of Western unity. The numbers don't lie. If Trump's tariffs go through, the impact will be seismic. Nearly $29.3 billion worth of European exports could be affected. That's 4 times larger than the last time Trump went after Europe's metal sector. But what exactly does that mean? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. First, let's talk about steel and aluminum, Trump's primary targets. These are not just materials. They are the backbone of industries. Automobiles, construction, infrastructure, and defense all rely on these imports. Raising the cost of steel and aluminum doesn't just hurt European manufacturers, It drives up costs for American businesses and consumers. But Trump's strategy is simple. Make imports so expensive that American industries are forced to buy American. The problem? That strategy has already failed before. Last time, when Trump imposed tariffs, American companies suffered. Prices surged, jobs were lost. And despite promises of economic revival, the U.S. steel industry barely benefited. Some American manufacturers had to move production overseas just to survive the price hikes. And now, we're about to see the same cycle repeat itself. But it doesn't stop there. Trump has also hinted at reciprocal tariffs, meaning that any country that imposes duties on American goods will face the same from the U.S. The problem? That's not how trade works. Countries don't just trade goods, they trade influence, leverage, and strategic partnerships. If Trump follows through, he won't just be hurting Europe. He'll be isolating America even further. The EU isn't waiting to see what happens. They're already preparing a list of American products to target, and they're choosing them carefully. The goal? To hit industries that matter politically. Just like before, they'll go after agriculture, technology, and manufacturing. This isn't just about economic damage. It's about forcing American lawmakers to feel the pressure from their voters. So, as Trump prepares to push his tariffs, Europe is sharpening its economic weapons. And when the first strike lands, the retaliation will be swift and devastating. But here's the real story. This isn't just about trade. It's about alliances. It's about the future of global power. While Trump wages an economic war on Europe, China is waiting in the wings. For decades, the United States has been Europe's closest ally. A post-World War II relationship built on shared values, security commitments, and economic integration. The Marshall Plan rebuilt Europe. NATO provided a security umbrella, and US-EU trade ties created one of the most interconnected economic blocs in the world. But now, under Donald Trump, that alliance is being tested like never before. Trump's policies are shifting the ground beneath Europe's feet. His erratic approach to diplomacy, his deep skepticism of multilateral institutions, and his America First ideology are making it clear. Europe can no longer take US support for granted. And that means one thing. Europe must look for alternatives. And China is more than willing to step in. Unlike the United States, China is not imposing tariffs on European goods, nor is it threatening European companies with trade restrictions. Instead, China is extending an open hand, one that offers investment, technology, and infrastructure. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China has already woven itself into the fabric of European economies. Billions of dollars have flowed into European ports, railways, and tech industries. Strategic trade agreements have strengthened ties. And as the US isolates itself, China is moving in. And it's not just trade. China is now Europe's second-largest trading partner. The European Union exports over $230 billion worth of goods to China every year. China, in return, supplies Europe with the advanced manufacturing components that many industries rely on. The longer this trade war drags on, the more likely Europe is to deepen these ties. And once those ties become strong enough, the idea of a US-Europe economic alliance may become a thing of the past. But then, there's Russia. And this is where things get even more complicated. Trump's America First strategy has already shaken NATO to its core. His reluctance to confront Vladimir Putin, his hostility toward European defense spending, and his skepticism of traditional alliances have left Europe questioning whether the US will honor its commitments. NATO, once a symbol of transatlantic strength, is now hanging by a thread. And European leaders are being forced to ask themselves a painful question. Can we still trust America to defend us? Germany is already taking action. A €200 billion defense package is in the works, one that would mark the largest military expansion since the Cold War. France, too, is reassessing its long-term security strategy. The message is clear. If the US continues down this path, Europe will be forced to stand on its own. And if that happens, it won't just be economic realignment, it will be geopolitical realignment. And that's the real danger. This isn't just about steel. It's not just about tariffs or even trade wars. It's about the balance of global power shifting before our eyes. If the European Union decides to forge stronger ties with China, or worse, if it is forced into a neutral stance between Washington and Beijing, the entire Western alliance system could begin to unravel. And once that bond is broken, it won't just be economic consequences the world has to worry about. It will be geopolitical ones. Because history has shown us one undeniable truth. When global powers realign, the world is never the same again. One thing is clear. Trump is pushing his allies away, and in doing so, he risks standing alone. His aggressive trade policies, his disdain for multilateral agreements, and his America First doctrine have alienated traditional partners. The European Union, once a firm ally, is no longer willing to simply accept economic bullying. If Trump moves forward with his tariffs, the EU will retaliate. And this time, it won't just be symbolic, it will be strategic. Europe isn't alone. Canada, Mexico, and even key Asian allies like Japan and South Korea have grown wary of Trump's economic nationalism. Retaliatory tariffs are being prepared, and trade agreements are being rewritten, not to include the US, but to exclude it. The result? A shifting economic landscape where American industries could find themselves on the outside looking in. In geopolitics, isolation is weakness, and Trump's policies are pushing America toward that very fate. If his allies retaliate, and if the US continues to alienate its closest partners, Washington may soon find itself in an economic battle with no reinforcements. Trade wars have no winners, but this time, Trump's America might be the one losing the most. And as we watch this crisis unfold, one question remains. Is this just another political stunt? Or is this the beginning of the end for the global order as we know it? So what happens now? Does Trump push forward, risking an all-out trade war? Let us know in the comments section. Does Europe retaliate, setting off a chain reaction of economic chaos? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: African politics, economy, and increasing power. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Tell us what you think in the comment section. Like and share the video, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our African videos. It's the best way to support us.